What's up, guitar players? Today I'm going to be showing you a great exercise to get you better at bending your strings, sounding better in your guitar solos, your lead lines, yada, 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 etc., strengthening your actual fingers to hit those bends and the technique to actually make them sound really good, really clean, really strong, and powerful. This is super important stuff if you want to get better at lead guitar, which I think most people who pick up a guitar would like to do. So if you do find this to be helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, trying to put much more stuff like this out there. So, those of you who want to actually get better at guitar can do so without, having to listen to somebody talk about how they love the Gibson SG for like 20 minutes before they show you anything. Okay, so without further ado, so I don't do that, let's jump into this. All right, really simple exercise. Again, this will come up in a lot of solos. So if you just want to, if you want to sound good, obviously the first part of that little line, was string bending. And, part of the exercise is going to sound like that. So the exercise is... really easy to hit, non-essential strings. So just be mindful of that. I'm not saying I'm going to play every single, cycle of this super clean. That's always the goal, though, right? When you're playing in a band, it's not going to be very obvious, but or you're jamming, won't be quite as obvious. But try to hold yourself to that standard. Let's go through this a few more times. So a little bit of sloppiness on that last note. Cleaned it up on that one. Right, it's just a millisecond, but for those of you who have a keen ear or keener ear, you'll notice that a few moments in there, I'm kind of hitting an unwanted string. Again, when you're playing in a band, you're jamming, you're not going to really hear it as clearly. But what's nice about this is that you get the immediate feedback. All right, so that's the lick, or that's the exercise. Right, you might not play a lick like that, but that's the exercise. We're bending the B string a few times, going up to the high E, really giving it a strong bend, and then we're going to the G string. Those are going to be the three strings that you most commonly bend, that you'll see in your favorite songs and solos that are being bent or being bended. That doesn't mean you can't bend the D string. Doesn't mean you can't pull the A string down, right? But more often than not, you'll see that on the G, B, and high E strings. All right. Now let's just quickly go over technique. Again, this is stuff that you should be able to take on your own. I don't want to waste unnecessary time. But for those of you who are just bending with one finger, it's always going to sound weak, right? If you're just using your ring finger, it's so, in my mind, especially once you get more, you get better and better at listening to these things or listening for them, you work with enough students, you can hear that it's a weaker bend. Support it with your middle finger and or index. You don't always have to, pull the index over, but at least the middle finger. You can go so much, stronger. Sometimes you'll hear people bend beyond, right? The traditional bends would be half bend, whole bend. Sometimes you'll hear, people go all the way, three steps up. So instead of, half, right? You can really go for it if you've got some other fingers supporting you. So that first bend is gradual, right? What's called a gradual bend. And then we're really going for it quickly. So if you find that it doesn't feel so strong, we're going for a whole step bend. So just go from 12 up to 14 and ask yourself, did it sound like the 14th fret? And the initial bends, am I sneaking towards the 14th fret? All right, again, sorry for the guitar faces. And as we come down to the G string, we are already in a bend, right? So we're lifting up. That's where that kind of, unwanted string sound can come from. We're bending up, and then we're, right? Now we are pulling off from that bend, but you don't have to necessarily do that. You can and just pull it down, or you don't have to pull off if that feels too complicated for you. Again, or another thing, you don't have to go that fast. You can work through this. Get acclimated. Okay, better, right? You can kind of go through the motions, allow yourself to get that immediate feedback if you don't feel super confident with your bending capacity or your bending capabilities. So there it is, right? Put on a timer, 5-minute timer, that's it. Put a metronome on if you want, right? Play along with an actual rhythm, that's always helpful. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. What does it matter to me, right? I'm just trying to show you a really nice drill that you can hit for 5 minutes before all the songs and solos you want to learn, and then go live your life, go learn those things, all right? But this is just a nice way to skill build before you get into the songs and solos and all that stuff. And oftentimes people try to jump into songs and solos, but they haven't actually refined the skills, so they never get tight, they never get better, right? Or the movement is like this tiny little slope. You should get freaking better fast, right? I want you to. The last thing, we're starting up here, basically in this like minor pentatonic shape, 9, starting on the 9th fret, 9 up to 12, 9 up to 11, on the A, D, and G strings, but you know the shape, I'll flash it, or I will have already flashed it. If you're feeling good, move it down, right? It's more tension on the string if you move it down. So I would say go as low as, like the F minor pentatonic. That would be a tough, that would be a really tough position to hit these in, but go for it, right? If you're feeling up to it. Most of you will probably just stop at the G minor shape. That sounded a little bit better. All the way down at F minor is really, really tough. Might pop a string unless you're tuned down half a step. But anyways, there's less tension up here. That's why we want to start up here and then inch your way down, literally 1 fret at a time. So if you are a good little child, you're a good little guitar player, and you hit this every day for about 2 weeks, listen, if you're feeling good after the first 3 days, sneak it down, right, to that C minor pentatonic shape. If that's feeling good, sneak it down to the B minor. If that's feeling good, go all the way down to the A minor. Right, just keep making your way down and down and down. Of course, you could do this every day for 5 minutes for 4 weeks, but just something really simple to refine the skill and then move on from it and go enjoy all the other stuff you want to do with regards to playing the guitar and your own personal creative expression. Okay, let's leave it there. Go enjoy, go live your life. If you did enjoy the video, you find this to be helpful, I'm going to be putting out more stuff like this, so like the freaking video, subscribe to the channel. I love you all. Peace. I'll see you on the next one.